Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday morning. Here with JJ, and his Ravens won on Thursday night, so you can see that he's excited, and he's wearing his little Ravens lanyard on his neck.
I always wear it.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's like your go-to. But anyway, JJ, what's up, bro? How you doing today?
Woo! Hot. Gosh, it's hot in this house, but I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. Why don't you turn on your AC or get a fan or something?
I don't control.
You okay? You don't control that?
My landlord does. I'm getting hot flashes like an old woman now. Sheesh.
Tell him to turn the stuff down.
Ugh.
Silver the Barber. What's up, Silver the Barber? Hope you're doing well today, man. Silver the Barber texted me this morning and said he's making some bets. So we're gonna see what bets are the good bets for today. So let's start with our first game. Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles coming off the bye. Everyone healthy. Lane Johnson was in concussion protocol. He's going to be back. Everyone's back. Everyone's healthy. Steelers coming off the loss. Miami Dolphins. Kenny Pickett been turning the ball over a lot. He's got 7 interceptions on the year. Only started a few games. Very careless with the ball. Had a few fumbles against the Eagles defense, who's very opportunistic. The top defense in the league at getting takeaways versus a young rookie quarterback that's careless with the ball. Not a good recipe for success for the Steelers. I got the Eagles winning this game handily at home and getting to 7-0 on the season.
First, how you going to disrespect my team? We're both tied. Oh, actually, you have 14 takeaways. We're at 15 after one that we got this past week.
That's because you played one more game than us. So
even then, we were still tied. We were both at 14 coming into this week. We both were leading the league at takeaways.
Yes. Doesn't matter. You're missing the point.
No, I'm not.
Kenny Pickett turns the ball over. Eagles defense, best at getting takeaways. Not a good thing for success.
I was just making jokes because I'm sitting there like, how are you just going to leave us out? And we was not. We just definitely have 14.
What's up, Grizz? Hope you're doing well today, bro.
Yes, I like the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. That spread is tricky because that's
11 points.
No, the spread of 11. That's
what I'm saying. 11 points.
Yeah, it sounds. It's like I feel like it's a tease. Honestly, like I feel like it's a tease because I feel like
we said the same thing when they played Buffalo and it was like Buffalo 17 or something. And the Bills easily covered it. So
I
think we could win again. I think we can win a 28-17 ball game.
I think it would be. I think it's going to be like 10 points or less. If it was a 10-point spread, I would have taken it. That 11, that extra point.
So the 1 point just does it for you.
The 1 point is a difference because that means it's like you have to get 12 basically or 11 to cover. Whereas like if it's a 2-score game, it's like you're down by 9 or down by 10. You don't cover. So in that
the Eagles could get up by a lot and then, fourth quarter garbage time, and then
they could, or they could be in.
The Steelers score like a garbage time touchdown or something to cover the spread. That actually happens a lot. That's why a lot of bets get messed up because of garbage time. But
I think Philly
Eagles will win today.
I think Philly's wins. I don't think Philly's going to dominate like the Buffalo team did. I think it's going to be.
I feel you. I feel your frustration.
I think it's going to be one of those that hang around. They'll be up to like 7, 8, or 10 for a good minute. They'll go up maybe by 17 for like one stretch, and then Pittsburgh scores to get it back down to like 10 or so. I think because Pittsburgh believes in Kenny Pickett. He may have thrown a lot of interceptions, but they let him rip. They've seen him face adversity, and he's kind of been pretty.
I think leaving him in is the right decision. Even if he struggles. I mean, this is a guy that you took in the first round of the draft.
But
he's not going to be perfect. You need to get him an experience and then see where he's at next year.
It's like, hold on, chill out.
I'm just saying something real quick.
I got you. But given how they love him, he's a hometown hero, And, anyone they like from, like, Pittsburgh, they think they have, like, the heart and the gridiron, the gold, and they think they got that everybody he's just that guy that rallies. And he has talent. He can throw the football, and he can get down the field. And if he gets him, Matt Canada may hinder him, but I think it's going to be Philadelphia. I would take Pittsburgh to cover. And I think on the props, yeah, I'm taking A.J. Brown receiving yards. They're down to their second or third string quarterback, and A.J. Brown beats number ones, and he's definitely going to have a chance to beat these guys. And I think if Jalen Hurts has any rushing yards, I think that would be great as well, because that's a big part of the offense, and they have a hard time stopping guys like that in the run game. And I think that's going to be a big deal for them. Kenny Pickett's passing attempts are at 37. That's an over, because I think he's going to be ended up throwing like almost 40, 30, 40, 45 cents a game, because I think they are going to be trailing most of the time, and you're not going to be able to commit to running the football as much as they probably would like. So, yeah.
All right, fair enough. And Grizz says, I got the Eagles winning by exactly 10 and messing up everyone's bets. That is probably what's going to happen today. Next game, Carolina Panthers versus Atlanta Falcons. The winner of this game, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be first place in the NFC South after the Baltimore Ravens win over the Buccaneers to send the Buccaneers to 3-5 on the season. So this is the first time, and by the way, this is the first time in Tom Brady's 23-year NFL career that he's been 2 games under 500, which is actually insane to think about. But the point is, this is crazy. The NFC South is not looking good. The Buccaneers are not looking good. Buccaneers were heavy favorites to win this division before the season. And the Buccaneers have not been good. Panthers are right there in the thick of things, even though people were saying they're going to tank. Atlanta hasn't been, a good team. No one expected them to be good.
They've been competitive.
They're right there in the thick of things. They beat the 49ers a couple weeks ago. And then you also have the Saints, who are 2-5, but they're not out of it. So none of these teams in NFC South are out of it. So it's interesting. And it's actually kind of sad that one of these teams is going to end up hosting a home playoff game. But about this game specifically, you have the Panthers, who beat the Buccaneers last week, and you have Atlanta at home. It's kind of a pick'em game. I think the teams are close, but I guess I would just take it. I would just roll with the home team here. I'll roll with Atlanta. Panthers, I'm not sure if they're gonna be able to put, a bunch of points on the board and everything like that. Atlanta was very impressive against the 49ers. If they can have a similar game like they did, I think they could definitely win this game at home. But either way, whoever wins this game, you're going to be in first place in the NFC South. And that is absolutely crazy. So, whatever. Good luck to you guys. JJ, take it away.
I'm taking Carolina to cover, and I'm taking Carolina money line to win, because in the AFC, in this NFC South game, I think that those games are anything can go happen, anything ways. And none of those teams are great. But Carolina has a good defense. I think they have the best defense of the teams that are playing right now. And I think, and I mean, this happens every year. There's always one division that has a down year that doesn't look like they're good. And it happens to think this year is this NFC South. I like Carolina. I like their defense. I think that is the strong point of their entire team. I love, how they like to, try to commit to stopping the pass. They love to sack the quarterback. And I think Atlanta is competitive, but I think in this game, I think it's going to be a little bit tough. I like the unders on Kyle Pitts, because he's going to be mainly targeted by Shaq Mason, I think is his name. And Jeremy Chin at safety will be mostly covering him. I like any rushing yard overs for PJ Walker, and I like any receptions or receiving yards for DJ Moore, because PJ Walker and DJ Moore have a really good connection. DJ Moore had his best game this year against the Buccaneers with PJ Walker as his quarterback. So I think Carolina's going to do it. I think Carolina is the team that they can rely on their defense to help them. As long as PJ Walker doesn't make too many mistakes and just game manages and moves the football, I think it's a good shot. I think they're going to be able to get Marcus Mariota in some situations that he doesn't like. And I think whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win the game. And I think Carolina's going to win the game.
So you got the Panthers winning the game. I got the Falcons winning the game. Next game, we got the Chicago Bears taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys favored with a 10-point spread over the Bears. Over and under is set at 42 and a half. The thing about this game, the Cowboys are going to win this game, by the way. But the thing about this game is this. The Dallas Cowboys offense, it's been terrible. It's been terrible with Dak. And it's been terrible with Cooper Rush. So sooner or later, the Cowboys offense is going to have to show me something. They're going to have to show me, yeah, when they get it going, they can put points and stuff on the board. They played against Detroit last week. Worst defense in the league. Couldn't really do anything. Had 10 points going into the fourth quarter. Then Detroit just turns the ball over a bunch of times. So they get to that 24 points. But the offense has been struggling. And you know what? With a mobile quarterback like Justin Fields, similar to Jalen Hurts, a little different, but Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense, they kind of showed a blueprint against the Dallas Cowboys. And that is when you're running an RPO system and you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know if he's going to throw the ball, you don't know if he's going to hand it off, you don't know if he's going to take off. It causes a lot of problems, especially for someone like Micah Parsons, a very aggressive football player. You know, he kind of froze up a little bit on those RPOs because he didn't know what Jalen was going to do. So you have a guy like Justin Fields that has, you know, that athletic ability. I would like to see them run some plays like that, similar to what the Eagles are running against the Cowboys, if the Bears want to have a chance in this game. But I got the Cowboys winning the game just because the Bears just aren't very good at all. And the problem with what I just said is there's no A.J. Brown, there's no Devonta Smith, there's no Miles Sanders on the Chicago Bears. So they don't really have weapons like the Eagles have, so it's kind of easier said than done. But if they can make something happen, it would be interesting, but I don't think it's going to happen. Cowboys win. Are you there? JJ.
I like Cowboys to win, but I like Bears to cover. 10 seems like a lot, and they do play
And hold on, I got something for this. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to pull something up. Let me see. Da-da-da. 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 Okay, that's enough.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
That is so weird. I have no idea what just happened with my phone. But anyway, I was saying I like Dallas to win, but I like Chicago to cover. I think Chicago has stretches where in games they can start getting a little traction and being able to look like they're going to have something positive going. And they are coming off of a very good victory against a very tough team, a tough environment in New England with a Belichick defense, which at one point in time was famously known for making first and second year quarterbacks look like they should go back to college. But Justin Fields and them figured it out. They have pieces on Chicago's team. They have guys that if their situation was a little bit different, like if they were a little bit more cohesive and they've been around for a little bit longer together, they look good because, you know, David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert, Cole Kmet, you know, Dante Pettis, there are pieces there. And Justin can show you, he has shown you that he does not look like the guy who was getting sacked 6-7 times a game when we first started to open the season. he can put some things together. I don't think it's going to be enough, but I think they do run the RPO, which is going to give him a chance to get some success because aside from you guys, Dallas doesn't really come across that. They don't really come across any of this stuff. Micah Parsons is active, but he is banged up because he has an issue with his shoulder. I like Dallas to win, but Chicago to cover.
Micah Parsons struggled against the RPO.
Exactly. If I'm doing any over or unders, I am doing overs on the rushing yards for Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard if they're both available.
Zeke is out. He's injured. Pollard's going to be getting the most of the carries.
I'm doing overs for Tony Pollard's rushing yards, rushing receiving yards combined. If there's a rushing receiving touchdown prop, because Chicago's whole is stopping the run, they really don't do it. I just don't. The only thing that may give me pause is I just don't think, because Dallas has a tendency to do this when they see a team that that's like undermanned or inferior to them, and they have the formula that can actually exploit it, which is dominating in the run game. They'll try to use the pass game instead, and they'll have Dak just throwing up and down and trying to carve up a defense because, he's their $35, $36 million man. So that's the only thing that gives me pause about it. But Tony Pollard, with the attempts that he's going to get, I think he's going to get off.
That's another good point. The Bears, they don't have offensive linemen like that. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure we know the Cowboys are going to win, but
and I'm taking
hopefully the Bears can at least make it
I'm taking the
dramatic or interesting, going late to the game, still like a close game or something. And they're like, oh, are the Cowboys going to choke? We don't know, but
Hold on. And I'm taking unders on Justin Fields passing yards, Justin Fields passing attempts. They're at 23.5.
Don't you take the under on Justin Fields every week?
Yes. So, yes, I do. That's my favorite prop. Love you, Justin. Keep it up. Do your thing.
So
that's just
AJ trying to get Justin to make him some money. So we'll see if that happens. So next game, Dolphins against the Lions. The Lions are at home. Miami 3.5-point favorites. Over-unders at 52. Listen, the Lions, it doesn't matter what the Lions do. They always find a way to get in their own way and lose games. They've been doing it. They did the same thing last year. They're doing the same exact thing this year, even though on paper, they look better, and they've actually played well in some games, but they just don't play well enough. The offense will put points on the board, and then the defense will give up, 45 points, stuff like that. Or on the flip side, what you saw last week is the defense was actually doing pretty good against the Cowboys offense, but you have like 5 turnovers in the second half, and you give yourself every opportunity to do something in the game, but you get in your own way. I don't think that's going to change, and I think the Dolphins get another win here.
I agree. Too much speed. One of the worst defenses. They don't cover well, and these guys are bad. They can run the football. Their defense isn't great, but their defense is going to be aggressive, and that I think is going to cause Jared Goff some problems. I like actually Miami Dolphins on the spread. I like the spread on this one because I think it's going to be a win by like 5 or 6 points because I think that they're going to get up early, and then they're going to have some prevent, and it's going to stop, from them winning by like 15, 16 points. That speed is just – I'm taking overs on Tua's passing yards. I'm taking overs on Raheem Mostert's rushing yards. I think they're at like 48.5. Definitely taking the receiving yards of Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill because that speed is just insane. Tyreek Hill is the number 1 receiver in the game right now in terms of yards and I think yards per catch. It's just they're just too fast. And then a Miami team is different with Tua under center. They are so much more explosive and so much more difficult to stop. And this isn't like Dak coming back from injury first game and having some trouble. Tua already came back, so he's kind of got his legs under him. He's got his flow with him. I think Miami's going to really have some favorable offensive numbers. Mike Gesicki is a sleeper one though because he's kind of fallen out of the shuffle because they got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill and then Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert, but Gesicki is still a bad boy. and I like him. And then Detroit gives up, and they're like top 5 and giving up the most receiving yards and touchdowns to tight ends. So I like Gesicki to win this joint.
That'll be interesting. Next game we have is the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings at home, line Minnesota by 4, and over-under is at 48.5. Arizona Cardinals have just not been a good team this year. They continue to, look good in moments and look good on paper. And, DeAndre Hopkins comes back. He gets over 100 receiving yards against the Saints. And the Cardinals win that game against the 2-5 Saints team. But other than that, the Cardinals have not been that impressive. The Vikings have actually been pretty good this year. Their only loss was to the Philadelphia Eagles in the second week of the season. So, I feel like if the Vikings don't do anything stupid, then they should be able to win this game. And they should be able to continue what they're doing. So I'm going to take the Vikings here.
This game is always interesting to me because I remember growing up as a kid that, I enjoyed, especially in my 16, 17, 18 years old, or when Kurt Warner's with the Cardinals and Brett Favre was with the Vikings, and they were having their little battles and stuff, and different, being good teams. But they weren't teams that were historically considered good consistently at the time. Now we fast track here. I think Arizona covers. I don't think they're going to win, but I think Arizona covers. I think their offense has the talent. DeAndre Hopkins is back. You have Marquise Brown, I think, is gone, but
he's injured.
He's injured. You got Marquise. DeAndre Hopkins alone brings confidence to Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray feels a lot more comfortable throwing the football knowing DeAndre Hopkins down there. And I don't think there's a secondary defender on the Vikings team that can handle him. And I think that I like Arizona to make this going to be a very, very tightly contested game. I think that whoever wins is going to get the ball in the last possession, which I think will be Minnesota, and they'll win by kicking a field goal because they're going to be down by 2. Because this team they're so, as much as Minnesota looks to have that one loss, it's me, but I'm one of those people that's just like, okay, good, but I still don't think you're great. Over and unders. Welcome back, Cowboy X Factor. Yes, you missed it. Long story short, we think y'all gonna wreak havoc on the Chicago Bears. Micah Parsons might have a little bit of issue, but he's gonna be all right. But in terms of the over and unders, I like over unders on DeAndre Hopkins easily. Receptions, yards, whatever, because he averages 14, 15 targets when he's with Kyler Murray to begin with. And DeAndre Hopkins being one of the best pass-catching wide receivers in the game with his hands, he's bound to get at least 8, 9, 10 of those catches. And you know him, he's good at breaking off. On the Vikings side, I like Dalvin Cook. I like Dalvin Cook's receiving and rushing yards. You appreciate that. I appreciate you, man. We thank you for coming with us. And
Thanks, buddy.
I like Dalvin Cook. And if Kirk Cousins has any touchdown props of 1.5 or 2.0 exactly, I would take them because at least I think I would. If you do 1.5, I think you're going to go over. But if you 2.0, you will push. I don't know. 3 is touching it. 3 touchdowns is touching it. But I like Kirk Cousins at home to really kind of have a good game against this Arizona defense.
Okay. Raiders Saints, 2-win teams. Saints being at home. Raiders are favored by 1, but it's obviously a pick'em game. It could go either way. Neither of these teams have been good. I guess I'll take the Saints. The Saints being at home. The Saints, their defense is good, but they just continue to find ways to lose games, which as the Eagles fan, I'm happy about because they're helping us get a good first-round pick. And the Saints actually have been talking with the Eagles about trading for Alvin Kamara, and they want their first-round pick back in that trade, which isn't going to happen. So they can keep wishing about that. But I don't know, man. The whole AFC West was supposed to be this this gauntlet of a division, and none of the teams have been that much impressive except Kansas City, and the Raiders have been a disappointment as well. I think by this point of the season, if you told us before the season that Raiders were going to have 2 wins, then I think most of us would have said, that's crazy. Like the Raiders, bringing in Devontae Adams and Derek Carr, they got weapons over there. They got Renfro. They got Josh Jacobs. They got Waller. They should be doing more than what they've done, but they just haven't. And the Saints have been, don't get me wrong, the Saints have also been a disappointment, but playing at home, I guess I'll just take the Saints because New Orleans is a good home field advantage.
I like those points, but I'm going late at Los Angeles, Las Vegas, because I just think they're the better of the bad team. They're the better of the bad team. They have Devontae Adams. They have Josh Jacobs, who Josh Jacobs in the last couple of weeks has been getting off. He's been getting over 100 yards every game, and I think he's averaged like 1 or 2 touchdowns. Hunter Renfrow is still there. Hello, Darren Waller. When are you going to show up? Because everyone was ready to come in the season putting you as the second or the third best tight end in this game. Over Mark Andrews, over a couple people like, even a George Kittle. Where have you been? Where have you been? You got to step up and you got to show up and show out. I do think that this is going to be more of a favorable advantage for the Raiders because I think their passing attack is more crisp. It's not great, but it's better than the Andy Dalton-led Saints, which leads me, I need to see the spread. I think the spread was, 4 or 3?
It was 1. Raiders won.
Oh, yeah. I like Raiders to get this one because I think the Raiders will win by a field goal or more. I don't like that over-under of 48.5. I got this as like a 27-21 type
I
game.
think it'll be under.
I think it could be it's teetering on that under or teetering on that over line. Now, prop wise, I love receiving yards for Devontae Adams. I love receiving receptions for Devontae Adams. Hunter Renfrow reception, I think, are set at 4.5. I think he can get his 5. I like Josh Jacobs because I think they're going to continue to commit to letting him run the football. So his rushing yards, I like his props. I like his rushing attempts. He averages about 17, 18 a game. I like those for him. And Derek Carr, if his touchdowns are 1.5, I like it. If it's 2.5 because they're trying to get freaky with it, I like the under on that one.
And Grizz says he's taking the over. He says he sees it being 34-31 for some reason.
True.
That would be interesting. But I don't know. Derek Carr, Andy Dalton, I don't see this being a crazy football game. But the next game, you got New England Patriots going to take the Jets on at the MetLife Stadium. New England is favored by 3 in this game, not the Jets. So New England didn't look so hot against the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football last week. Yet they're still 3-point favorites on the road against the Jets, who have been playing really good football. It really surprises me. The Jets did lose Breece Hall, who's having a fantastic rookie season.
The rookie of the year.
But they traded for James Robinson from the Jaguars. So
and
I would like to see how he gets integrated into their team. The Jets have been finding good ways to win games. And I think that's going to continue against the Patriots. And what I saw from the Patriots was just not good enough. So it's kind of puzzling to me. If this game were in New England, then I would be like, yeah, I guess I can understand why Patriots are favored. But Patriots favored on the road. So Jets being home underdogs, that's a bet I would take all day. And the over and under seems about right. I don't think it's going to be a crazy high-scoring game. The offenses are not crazy high-scoring offenses. So, you know what? I think that's good. But Jets as home underdogs, yeah, I would get all over that.
Yeah, I'm taking Jets to cover. I think the Jets are a very different team right now. I love what they're doing. They rally behind their coach. Losing the offensive rookie of the year in Breece Hall was a big loss. But Michael Carter is a viable backup and a secondary option for them. And then, of course, they did bring over James Robinson. The Jets, look, I love what they do. Their defense is much better than people want to give them credit for. Sauce Gardner is hands down the rookie of
He's
the
a
year on
beast.
the side. And it's funny because he's made do, and he didn't really say much about it. You know, everybody, the thing about they were saying is like he's great, and they're all sitting there saying like, but you know, he has never given up a touchdown, but he was going against people like Cincinnati played against, and I think the AAC or the AAU. He's got into the league, has not given up a touchdown. He's big enough to cover tight ends, and he's fast enough and strong enough to cover the best of the best wide receivers. That defense is the fueling point that's going to be for them for this game, because I didn't like what I seen against the Bears from Zapp and Mac Jones, especially Mac Jones coming back. They like to get after you. Quentin Williams in that middle is a very tough person to kind of hold and move around. I like what they're out. And I like Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's not going to give you 300 yards passing, but he'll give you 100, 200 yards passing. But those 200 yards are going to be making first downs because they'll get critical third down conversions. I like the Jets to cover, and I like the overs on Michael Carter's rushing yards and receiving yards. And if James Robinson plays, I like his overs on rushing yards as well. As far as the Patriots, if there's interception props for whoever the quarterback's starting today, because I don't know with them, and I think part of the reason why they had a struggle last week is because they got in their own way by not sticking with the guy. Like, I like the interception props for Mac Jones or Bailey Zapp. It is strange to see, that the Jets are not favored.
It is very interesting to see that the Jets are home underdogs. So,
petty.
Like I said, I would take the Jets as the home underdogs. So let's see what our next game is. It's going to be the Tennessee Titans. You got Malik Willis, first career start. Ryan Tannehill is injured, taking on the Houston Texans on the road. Tennessee, 1-point favorites. Over under 39.5. So the odds makers are not saying this game is going to be a very high scoring game. It's going to be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to be interested to see, like, how much does this offense look different with Malik Willis? Because Malik Willis brings a different dynamic to the table than Ryan Tannehill. You know, he has that athletic ability. So I think with Derrick Henry in the backfield, you could have a little bit of an RPO offense, kind of like what the Baltimore Ravens do with Lamar, what the Eagles do with Jalen Hurts. Could do a lot of similar things with Malik Willis, because Malik Willis, he can run for days, and you know, he can throw the ball. He was looking very impressive for them actually in the preseason, albeit it was preseason. But you know, I think that if they just have a good game plan, then we'll be able to see what Malik Willis can do. And if Malik Willis plays well enough, and provides a different spark for Tennessee, I don't know. There might be a quarterback controversy on the way over there in Nashville. Malik Willis, I'm very excited to see what he can do, but I think the Titans should be able to win this game. It's a division game, so I don't think it's going to be an easy win, but they're the better team. You got Derrick Henry. You got some guys over there. Just play your game and handle your business. The Titans should win this game.
I think the Titans are going to crush them. Derrick Henry averages over 125 yards rushing a game, 7 yards per carry against the Texans. I think at least 1 or 2 touchdowns in the last 7 games against them. I expect more of the same because, number one, they don't know what to expect about Malik Willis. Number one. So they don't know how they're going to play him. And number two, he can also be a mobile quarterback where he can get out of the pocket. Yep. Much like own teams, that only helps the running back if you have a threat at quarterback to run the football. Houston, I love because they have the front runner. They have the second leading candidate and rookie of the year on the offensive side, Dameon Pierce. But I just think Tennessee has their number. I love the overs on rushing yards for Derrick Henry. I love anything, whether it be 72.5 rushing yards underdog for him or 107.5 rushing and receiving yards. I like this. I think this is going to be a Derrick Henry game. I like Malik Willis, too, to get a couple rushing yards because I think just by default, as a rookie quarterback or a first-year quarterback, your first instinct a lot of times when you're in against defenses that may follow what your first read is to take off and run the football. And I think you're going to see that with Willis, and I think you're going to see some open lanes that are going to be created with him, which only allows Derrick Henry. And because Derrick Henry's back there, you got to figure it out. I think this is going to be a very good game for them. I think you're going to see some good moments from Malik Willis, but I also think you're going to see some maybe one or two things like, okay, you got too happy with yourself and you was doing too much right there. The over, I'm taking Tennessee easily on the spread. I'm taking Tennessee on the spread because I think they're going to win this game by like 7 or 10 points. As far as the Texans, I don't really got much for you on them. I want to go with the overs on Dameon Pierce and them, but I feel like if they get down by 22 or 3 scores, they're not going to be able to commit to the run of football, which is where he would make his money on that. That Davis Mills is going to just try to throw 50, 60 times a game to try to throw them back into this game. But I love everything Tennessee on this one.
Commanders, Colts. Carson Wentz is injured. Taylor Heineke will be starting. Matt Ryan has been benched. Sam Ehlinger will be starting. Nick Foles will be the backup for the Indianapolis Colts. Colts still favored by 3 at home. I'm going to go with the Colts. The Colts play well at home. Don't forget they did beat the Kansas City Chiefs at home. Sam Ehlinger, we don't know what he brings to the table, so we don't know what Washington, it's kind of like what you were saying, Malik Willis. Like, how are they going to game plan for a guy that they don't have a lot of film on? Same can be said for Ehlinger in this situation. He does have some mobility. In the days of Texas, he was known to escape the pocket and, run a lot. He was kind of like Tebow-esque. He big guy, try to bring him down, break tackles. So I don't know what's going to happen in this game. I don't think it's going to be, the most exciting game to watch at all, but give me the Colts.
I'm taking the Colts, and I'm pounding that under for 40 because I think this is going to be a 17-14 or 14-10 type game. Neither team is good offensively. Neither team has looked in sync. They both have guys that are new to their roles in this particular offenses. Heineke may have been in Washington, been there for a while and may know this, but Indianapolis' defense, especially against opposing quarterbacks in the passing game, is pretty good. I do not think this is going to be a fun, watchable game at all. I think there's going to be a lot of ugly moments. I could see this being 3-0 at halftime, to be honest with you. But funny thing is, this team, when I watch halftime now, it'd be like 17-17. You'd be like, what the heck? I don't know. But I like the Colts to win. I like the Colts to cover. I do think the under on passing yards for Heineke and Ehlinger is going to be a big one. But I think also you want to start whoever the running back is for the Colts, because I don't know if Jonathan Taylor is playing. I think he might have been hurt.
No, he's still hurt.
I like that over because I think they're going to – when you have a rookie quarterback or have a first-year quarterback, your natural instinct is to get the run game going. So the natural instinct is get the run game going. That gives these guys ample opportunities to try to make do. So the rushing attempts and the rushing yards for whoever the running back is for the Indianapolis Colts, that's the primary. I like his overs. I like the unders on receptions for Curtis Samuel because I do like the secondary of the Indianapolis Colts.
Fair enough. 49ers, speaking of Samuel, Deebo Samuel ruled out for this game, so we'll see how much is that going to play a factor because the last time these teams met, Deebo Samuel had quite a performance against these Rams, and the 49ers have had a lot of success against the Rams, especially in the regular season. They've won a lot of regular season games against the Rams. I think they've won, 6 of the last 7 or 7 of the last 8 or something like that against the Rams. So in this game, what is the Kyle Shanahan offense going to do without Deebo Samuel? Because Deebo Samuel is the headliner for that team. You traded a bunch of picks for Christian McCaffrey. You traded a second and a third, and they traded 4 or 5 picks for this guy. So I feel like for this game, with Deebo Samuel being out, this is a game where you got to see what Christian McCaffrey can bring to this offense. We've seen a lot of running backs have success in the Kyle Shanahan offense. You saw back with Atlanta when they had Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman, I believe. So I want to see what he can do with Christian McCaffrey in that system, in that scheme. I want to see how they can get him the ball and, if he can stay healthy for one. But that's another story. I think that the 49ers are going to win this game. They'll figure it out. Their defense is still very good. One of the best defenses in the league. You could argue that it could be the best defense in the league. Even though against Kansas City, I'll give them a little bit of a pass for that, just because with Jimmy Garoppolo, it kind of put the defense in a lot of bad situations. But just from looking at that defense and the players that they do have, they can make stuff happen. And against a bad Rams offensive line, I think that's kind of a mismatch. So I'll take the 49ers in a close one.
I got the 49ers. I got the 49ers winning this without too much because I don't think, and I've said this all season long, that arm for Matthew Stafford is way worse than they wanted to be when they put him into the season, saying that he was going to manage it. And I think, number one, there's so many things that San Francisco has over these Los Angeles Rams. Kyle Shanahan seems to be able to outcoach Sean McVay pretty much any time with whatever he's had. And the 49ers have never really been a team that's had like dynamic quarterback play in the last like Kyle Shanahan era, but yet they still seem to be able to put up good numbers against the Los Angeles Rams. Matthew Stafford, last time he faced these 49ers,
a couple weeks ago,
didn't look like he wanted to be in the game. Looked like he couldn't wait till the game was over with because they kept getting after him. They kept making him look uncomfortable. They kept just making life for him just was absolutely miserable. Now, I do think that there is going to be a moment where LA looks like they're going to figure it out and try to overcome them. But I think San Francisco's defense is going to get a pick or a sack fumble, and then they're going to turn the tide back into their favor. Prop-wise, Jeff Wilson Jr., I would kind of like his overs on his rushing attempts and rushing yards because he's on the trading block. And people are they're entertaining offers about him. And I think that because they know they can run the football and they know they have Christian McCaffrey, and they know that most of the offensive game plan is going to be centered around him, Jeff Wilson has a prime target on his back to show up and show out. I love the unders on Matthew Stafford's passing yards, and I like overs on his interceptions because he just doesn't look good at all against San Francisco. And that was even evident last year when they had their all-star talented team with Van Jefferson and Odell Beckham Jr. and all of them. As you know, Cooper Kupp is his favorite target. He'll get like 16, 17 targets a game. But another one to watch out for, I think is somebody you want to get over on, is Tyler Higbee's reception at 4.5. Outside of Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee is Matthew Stafford's second favorite target. Ironically, they don't use Allen Robinson the way they should.
It's almost like they miss OBJ.
Now, Van Jefferson's supposed to come back this week, and they're saying he's not going to be on a limited snap count. So we'll see about that wrinkle.
Going to be interesting. But we both got the 49ers. New York Giants versus Seattle Seahawks. In Seattle, Seattle is 3-point favorites at home. Over-unders at 44.5. I don't know how these damn Giants continue to win games, but they're just doing it right now. Playing good, keeping games close. The thing that the Giants are doing is they're keeping the games close enough to where when it gets to the fourth quarter, they're still in striking distance. They can, just find a way to win the game. And that's how the Giants continue to win games. Meanwhile, the Seahawks have been winning games too. The Seahawks are at the top of the NFC West at the moment. And who knows? Could they make it as a division winner in the NFC West? Could they make it as a wild card? That's very possible with the way Geno Smith has been playing. Very accurate this year. One of the top quarterbacks in completion percentage. Seattle, good home field advantage. I think this could be a tough game for the Giants, but I'm going to take the Giants in this one. I have picked against the Giants pretty much every week, and they still win. So until I see somebody that can beat the Giants or keep them from winning, there's not much I have to say. So I hope Seattle pulls it out, though, because that would really be helpful for us Eagles fans that hate the Giants. So we'll see. But I have to be unbiased, and I have to say I think the Giants are going to
win. Okay. We already know my feelings on this Geno Smith because we had that conversation on the Gauntlet. I'll make this long story short. I don't be surprised. I don't think the Seahawks are going to win more than 4 games the rest of the way. I think the stretch is going to end starting. I think it's cute. It's nice. It's awesome. Yay, Geno, you got your moment. Good job, whatever. But what's going to be today that's going to be interesting is that you're going to go against a defense in Wink Martindale who with Wink Martindale, you don't know what to expect. You don't know where your blitzer's coming from. He's going to blitz you majority of the time, so you better identify your hot read. Otherwise, you're going to be in for a long day. In terms of betting purposes, Giants cover. I think the Giants win, but even if they lose, I think they're going to lose by like a 1 point or 2 points. I love the rushing yard totals for both running backs on both sides because both defenses have struggled against stopping opposing running backs. And ironically, both defenses have also struggled at stopping opposing quarterbacks in terms of rushing yards. So Daniel Jones and Geno Smith might be a good prop to bet on the overs when in terms of their rushing yards. But Saquon has an over on his one. Saquon has a rushing touchdown prop of 0.5. I think that's a free bet right there because I think he's going to get off, and I think he's going to get off in a good way. I can see him breaking off a 35 to a 40-plus yard run for a score. As far as the passing yards, interesting. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I ain't got nothing for you on that one. I'm staying hard on the running backs on this one.
All right, we got two more. We got Green Bay versus the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo coming off their bye week. And you got Green Bay that's on a 3-game losing streak. So the Green Bay Packers are in trouble. They lost to the Commanders last week. The Packers have been looking terrible. Bills are at home. Bills are healthy. Bills are coming off a bye week. They're rested. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. The Bills are going to win. And it's not even going to be close. It's not even going to be a close game. The Bills are arguably the best team in the league. A lot of power rankings have them as the number 1 team. They have them over the Chiefs, who they already beat the Chiefs this season. They have them over the Eagles, even though the Eagles are undefeated. They are the real deal, and Packers have been struggling. So I think the Packers are going to lose another one here. And the Packers need to make a move. They need to make a move at the trade deadline. They need to get somebody in there, or their season is over. Point blank. If the Packers do not do something before the trade deadline, get somebody in there, get a receiver. You know, they've been in talks about Brandon Cooks. They've been linked with DJ Moore and some other receivers. They need to get somebody in there because the guys that they have are not able to get it done. And you have Aaron Rodgers back there, but even Aaron Rodgers cannot make these guys look good, which is something we haven't been able to say for a long time. So Green Bay got to figure that out, but they ain't going to figure it out tonight. Bills by double digits.
I agree. I think, and I shout out, there's only been really one team to really slow down the offense of the Buffalo Bills, and they won that game, and that was against the Baltimore Ravens. They had a great game. They lost to the Dolphins, but their offense had got off. They just couldn't kill it out in the red zone. But Green Bay kind of feels like a fish, a shark, and a fawn in the woods around a pack of wolves, where the Bills have each wolf is Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Von Miller, Jordan Poyer, all just captivating them. The one thing Buffalo loves to do is not give up the big play. And the one thing Green Bay cannot do is create a big play. And their defense is too strong against this type of offense that Green Bay has. And Josh Allen, I said it before the end of the beginning of the year, Josh Allen was the MVP frontrunner, and Josh Allen looks like this is his MVP. And I think he is running away with it. No disrespect to the quarterback up in Philadelphia, because I think his time is coming. I definitely think if he doesn't get it this year, Jalen Hurts is on his way. And I said this to a friend the other day. In terms of quarterbacks, this, like I said, when I made my post about the quarterback between the Eagles and the Ravens, Jalen, as far as a passer in his third year or second year, third year, he is
second year starting
further along than my quarterback was that year we won the MVP. But I think this year it's just Josh. That offense looks like it's just literally there's nothing you can do. They have too
I'll
many.
give it to Josh.
They have,
He wins the MVP. He wins the MVP, but
they have, and I think the Bills are going to be. I think the Bills have a potential to only have one blemish on their record, and I think tonight is just a big matchup that they like the lights. They're not afraid of seeing the quarterback Aaron Rodgers because they just beat Patrick Mahomes. They've been Lamar Jackson. This is the chance for Josh Allen to make history. I think is to be the first quarterback to defeat 3 MVP quarterbacks in the same season, which he's already taken down 2, and he's got this one this weekend. I love the Bills in this game. I like the Bills over in terms of the spread. The over is interesting on the over and under because I don't think Green Bay's offense is that good, but I think Buffalo's going to put up like 35, 38 points. I think Buffalo rolls over them. I'm taking all overs on Josh Allen's passing yards, touchdowns, you name it, I'm taking it. Stephon Diggs, absolutely, both of them. Gabe Davis, positively sure. Unders on Aaron Rodgers because they do not protect the quarterback well. And Von Miller has had a resurgent season.
I agree. I mean, Jalen. I also don't think Jalen cares about the MVP like a lot of quarterbacks do. I think he would rather win a Super Bowl MVP than a league MVP.
Funny, and I said this to you years ago. The stuff that is happening with you guys, the things you guys are saying about this, I have been through it. So I know exactly how you feel. And I know exactly the type of quarterback that you have. That desire is why he is who he is. That desire is why he looks so good. Because he doesn't care about his own personal win, his accolades. He's just trying to win. And in trying to win, his own accolade, his own successes look great. Like he's just that dude. But back to the game, I don't like any high props for these Packers because I think when they get down, I think they're going to abandon the run game because I don't think they're going to be able to run the football anyway. Buffalo does that. And then if you're trying to work the short intermediate game like that, you're working into Buffalo's defense's favor. They love that. They want you to keep everything in front of them because they know they can play that very well. They got 2 of the best cover linebackers inside and Trent Edmonds and Milano. So I think this is going to be a huge game for Buffalo. The lights are shining brightest. When you win MVP or when you make your claim as these are the games.
You got to have an MVP moment.
Right. And I think this is going to be no different for Josh Allen. Josh Allen doesn't look like there's no offense that he does, nothing in this offense he doesn't know. He may have created his own plays. It looks like he could create his own plays in the midst of this offense.
All right, last game, AFC North matchup. You got the Bengals taking on the Browns on the road. The Bengals have had some issues playing the Browns the last couple of years. Even last year, and the Bengals were really good. They had trouble beating the Browns, but this time I think it's got to be different. I think the Bengals got to win this game. Jamar Chase is going to be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks, so that's not good. But you still got T. Higgins. You still got Tyler Boyd. You still got weapons on that side of the ball. So you should be able to still make stuff happen on offense. And Joe Burrow has been playing a lot better. He's starting to kind of figure things out this second half of the season. So I think that'll continue. I just don't think the Cleveland Browns have been very good. I want to give a shout out to our boy, Cliff Betts. he really thinks that this guy, the head coach Kevin Stefanski, is the biggest problem, and he doesn't run a balanced offense. He doesn't do what he's supposed to do as the head coach. The play calling is just not good. When Deshaun Watson gets, I'm going to be very interested to see what this Cleveland team, what their record is going to be by the time Deshaun Watson does get back, because they just have not been able to win. They have blown some games. They were leading. They were leading most of the game against the Chargers. They lost that game. So the Browns, much like the Lions, much like some other teams, they just keep finding ways to lose and not finding ways to win. So I think the Bengals are going to handle their business.
You shout out Cliff Betts. I'm going to kind of laugh at that because Cliff says that about every coach. Every coach is the problem. I love you, Cliff, but you said that about the guy before Stefanski. You said that about Jackson. He just every time it's
because they were all trash.
No, because the thing that I have with this is because when they made the playoffs, Stefanski was not the problem at all. He was great. He was everything. He was the coach that they were waiting for. About time they got it together. All this and that. And those
but he got figured out.
Hold on, those were words that I've seen from him. So I'm like, at some point in time, I think he didn't really want. I don't think he really wanted Baker to be let go either. I think he was like, we have to do this because he was also critical of Odell Beckham when Odell Beckham was talking about his stuff about Baker Mayfield too. So I think, Cliff, I love you, but I think, bro, you my guy, but I got to get you on this one, bro, because you do this a lot with this guy, this quarterback, and this coach controversy. Now, in terms of this game, I got the Browns. I got the Browns because I think divisional game, Browns have the Bengals number. The Browns swept the Bengals last year with this offense that they had with Jamar Chase going off, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. The Browns know how to play this team, and the Browns have a formula that can negate this team without Jamar Chase, and even as prolific as they are, because some of the things that we did against them to beat them this year is the same thing that they can do to them because that's part of their formula. Running the football, controlling the clock. I look for a big Nick Chubb game. I look for a big Kareem Hunt game. And Jacoby Brissett may not be Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Watson, but he is good enough to run an offense like this in a divisional game like this. I like the Browns to win, and I also like them to have overs for Kareem Hunt's and Jamar and Nick Chubb's rushing yards, rushing attempts, and rushing touchdowns or receiving touchdowns. I like those overs. David Njoku, that is definitely Jacoby Brissett's favorite target. He loves David Njoku. His National Tight End Day last week is going to travel the same this year. I think he is healthy because I know he left the game against last week, but I think he is healthy. I like David Njoku. With Jamar Chase out, I like Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins to both try to get a chance to get over because he's going to have to get those targets to somewhere else. It's going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be a close game, but I like Cleveland to win this game and continue their, I think, 4 or 5 game winning streak over these Bengals. I like them.
All right, JJ's got the Browns and I have the Bengals. That wraps up our weekly picks. We will be back next week for week 9, I believe. So gonna be interesting. So thank you guys for all tuning in. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And